Good Thursday morning. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John. Kaiser's here on the sofa one more time. And we're coming to you today with a few pieces of news here and there that has to be looked at by everyone that is concerned about where this country is going. And if you look at just the state of California alone, with what's going on in San Francisco in the streets out there, with the homeless that are setting up shop with stolen goods. And now the mayor and someone in charge of the system that controls the police are going to start to ask if they have selling permits and if the goods were actually good, not stolen but purchased, and do you have receipts for it? And if they're caught red-handed with this, it's unbelievable. They're going to basically haul off and give them a dirty look. If you do this 3 times and get caught, you'll be cited with a misdemeanor. And this is what's going on in the streets of San Francisco today. That one beautiful town, city on the bay that was an awesome place to go visit. I myself have been there many, many times, and I would be hard-pressed to go back. There's everything from feces in the streets to homeless lining the curbs, all bent over, can't stand up straight due to fentanyl and drug abuse, and the police walk around looking at it but do nothing. There are no statutes that they can control these people with, and no one wants to do anything about it. Now, if Xi Jinping comes and visits the city, it'll get cleaned up. In about 3 seconds and 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, it'll be pristine. But the second that he gets on a plane and leaves, or the Pope or any important person from overseas, it gets right back to where it once was. They're not cleaning the streets up. In fact, the state of California has huge money problems, water problems, and so many deficits under the tutelage of a governor that thinks that he should be president of the United States. So there's a little something to chew on this Thursday as you take through the afternoon and listen to what's going on with all kinds of nonsense that is coming out of our Senate and our House of Representatives with this Hakeem Jefferies is just wrong. Now he wants to unmask the ICE agents and cause them problems and death threats because he doesn't like the fact that they're doing the job that they were tasked to do, which is rounding up the illegals that are in this country. And as he says, and I'll show you a clip here in a moment, he thinks that it's illegal for them to wear masks. But he better take a look at all the universities that have all of these pro-Palestine people that are destroying people's educations and property, and they're all masked and done up in the Yesser Eurofart costumes that they're wearing, but it's okay for them because they vote democratically, I guess. This is a wannabe Speaker of the House. He thinks that they're going to take over in the midterms and install him and his bad ideas. And if you listen to him in this clip, you'll quickly see that he can't. He's a word salad artist as bad as or worse than Kamala Harris ever thought of being. This guy needs to be voted out of our Congress. He is a lackluster do-nothing that believes that he is going to take charge and bring all of the things that this administration is trying to clean up back into vogue one more time. What is wrong with them that they don't understand what we the people voted for in November? Let's take a look at this jackass right here.
Mr. Jefferies, you said after Congresswoman Kaiser was, he said, physically accosted by ICE officials that you wanted them identified, the officials that accosted them. Have they been identified, and what do you expect from, or do you want the agents that were harassing Jerry Nadler's staffers in the district office also identified? What's the latest, or how is our Democrats in response to it?
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That in fact is the law. And we're going to make sure that the American people have the transparency necessary to hold people accountable when there are folks who cross the line here in America. That's what's going to happen. And as I mentioned earlier, I spoke to Congressman Nadler about this. Our first priorities are always going to be making sure the person who is on the front line is in the best possible place to move forward. That's the case with LaMonica MacGyver, and it is also the case with Congressman Nadler's brave, young, patriotic staffer.
Liar. Liar.
And we've got to address those issues first. That's the human thing to do. While simultaneously, of course, preparing to deal with the broader policy implications, which, as I mentioned, are underway.
It's something else, isn't it, when a wannabe Speaker of the House and a big leader of the Democratic Party has the audacity to come out and say these things about our ICE agents, which brings me to the Minneapolis riots that took place yesterday. If you had a moment to take a look at that, I believe that Fox News was the only one that ran it. There were hundreds of people in the streets trying to block the ICE agents, the FBI, the DEA, and the ATF were in Minneapolis to make some arrests, and it turned out that it was a restaurant that they were going into. While they were trying to block them with garbage cans and the like, there was a fellow that went down the street and filmed all this and filmed the people running away with the criminals that they were after out the back door of the restaurant. And this is a state run by the other moron that thinks that he wants to run for president, old Tim Walz.
When we got here, the ICE agents and the FBI were...
The police are here to help!
This is the governor of the state. And Minneapolis, if you remember, that's where all the George Floyd riots took place, where they burned down half the city under his supervision. So, once again, the moron Tim Walz is at it one more time. It was an unbelievable thing to watch. And it was on YouTube last evening, and I believe Fox News ran a clip about it. I don't have that clip, but believe me, it was an ugly scene of people. And I have a question for anybody out there that might have an answer to this. But how do you put together a couple of hundred people on a rainy day in Minneapolis in the middle of the afternoon? Why aren't these people working? And then a great percentage of them were not American people. I mean, these were immigrants in most cases themselves, probably legal because they were out there in plain sight while all this was going on. It's incredible what takes place in Minneapolis, and the jackass Tim Walz is out telling people, oh, it's the safest city in America right now. Look what I've done. Well, look what he's done. And he's condoning all of this anti-ICE, and they're in the streets one more time yelling, abolish ICE, abolish the police, abolish the FBI, and these poor people that were out there doing this job. And yes, they are masked because you cannot have your identity exposed to these nutcases that are out there protesting, because they will find out who you are and do harm to you, your family, or your property. So yes, these people work undercover in a lot of cases. So they can't just say, carry a flag and take my picture, and here's my name. It's crazy. And it's crazier that people like Hakeem Jefferies and Jerry Nadler and people of that like think that they can ride roughshod over our law and order agencies that are out there trying to clean up the mess left by the Democratic-controlled Congress and the Democratic-controlled White House, which we're not really sure any longer who was running that particular White House. Which brings me to KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre. She's now written a book, and all of a sudden now she realizes that the White House was broken and she was fed a bill of goods for her binder to come out every day and lie to the American people. Let's just take a look at this.
Have to start with Biden's White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. My goodness, the woman who spent years lying to the American people, completely complicit in the big operation attempting to cover up Biden's decline, now claims that she doesn't want to be a Democrat. She's suddenly an independent and is coming out with a tell-all book, Independent, a look inside a broken White House, outside the party lines. I'm not sure who is going to be forking out for this, but let's just take a quick look back on the role she played as White House press secretary. The gaslighting was on another level.
He is as sharp as ever, as I have known him to be in my engagement and my experience with him.
Oh, how many times were we told that? And remember when she tried to pretend the videos of Biden looking increasingly terrible were cheap fakes and disinformation?
There seems to be a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused. I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these the right-wing critics of the president have a credibility problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation, disinformation.
And she still pretends that she wasn't part of one of the biggest political scandals of all time, the Biden cover-up. But just like Jake Tapper, who was also part of that cover-up and is still pretending that he wasn't really and is now profiting from that, Karine Jean-Pierre has found herself a book deal where this time she'll apparently be telling you the truth.
And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass.
And the PR around this is such a joke. Hatchet Book Group said in a press release, Jean-Pierre didn't come to her decision to be an independent lightly. She takes us through the 3 weeks that led to Biden's abandoning his bid for a second term and the betrayal by the Democratic Party that led to his decision. In a hard-hitting yet hopeful critique, Jean-Pierre defines what it means to be part of the growing percentage of our fractured electorate that is independent, why it can be worthwhile to carve a political space more loyal to personal beliefs than a party affiliation, and what questions you need to ask yourself to determine where you fit politically. I mean, come on. Karine Jean-Pierre has no credibility. She's likely going to be getting the knives out. She might name some names in this book and then make a few dollars. But isn't it interesting that after working for Obama and Biden, she's now urging Americans to essentially follow her and abandon the Democrat Party?
So she wants to sell a book, and now all of a sudden, all the gaslighting she did for all those years doesn't count? That's nice work if you can get it. This woman daily came out and maligned the press people that asked the questions and then lied and then said they were made up and the films were deep fakes and this, that, and the other thing. And now, because she needs to sell a book, because I guess none of the networks wanted to pick her up like they did with Jen Psaki and give her a cushy job, because they know that she was really never that good at the job that she had, and I don't think she would be any better on the networks or a show like this. But anyway, the Democrats, I guess, figured out that if they use profanity and curse a lot when it comes to talking about the big new beautiful bill or somebody running for an office or somebody that is in office, that by cursing and the use of profanity, that they will be recognized one more time as real men and real party. Well, Kareem has bailed from the Democratic Party. She's now an independent and wrote a book about it, being an independent. So maybe we'll end up with a third party called the Independent Party, but we don't know. And Chuck Schumer and the like of Jasmine and all of them, including Tim Walz, are all taken to profanity now. So let's take a look at that.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Senate Democrats Ask Me Anything. You're going to get 4 hours of Democratic senators. We're trying to get just about every senator to participate, and you can ask them anything.
Oh, cool. Can't wait.
Hi, Suzanne. Thanks for sending in the question. The question is this: am I voting for the big ugly bill? NFW, as they say in Brooklyn. No way. I am not voting for this bill.
Watch your language in front of the lady, punk!
It's going to cause so many hospitals to lay off hundreds of thousands of people, hardworking people who need the jobs. If you're in a rural area, the likelihood is your hospital will shut down. Now, Donald Trump is being just a liar.
Oh, watch your language, Mr. Dirty Mouth.
Do you really believe that this profanity and this act of nonsense that they're pulling to try to block this bill, does it need some tweaking here and there? Probably so. It probably does need a few more cuts, and the House didn't want to give up those cuts because there's too many people in the House that are benefiting in their areas of electorate that they want to keep in the fashion that they're used to being in, with money flowing and checks being written that their behinds cannot back up. So it's really, really interesting on what's taking place in the halls of Congress with the likes of Hakeem Jefferies and that creep Nadler, who want to out, and they're going to, and he said this, they're going to expose the names and faces of all of the ICE agents. That, my friend, is illegal. Not the fact that they're covering their face, as he says, is illegal. I think he needs to learn the law, number one. And number two, this is not 1930s. It is not Nazi Germany. Let's get off of that bandwagon. It did not work for you in the past, and it's not going to continue to work for you. So let's dump that bandwagon and move on to something of substance, Democrats. Give us an idea of how to make the bill better, or negotiate with the other side of the aisle, or negotiate with the president and his cabinet members on what would make the bill better, without adding all kinds of pork that you can run and give to your favorite people, favorite countries, and favorite programs and DEI like you had in the past. You're the people who ran this deficit up. You're the people that want to raise the debt ceiling because you want to spend money like drunken sailors. This is the problem. Not Donald Trump, not his cabinet, and not this big, beautiful bill. If you want to make changes in it, negotiate in good faith and stop lying to the public and getting on these social media platforms and saying the things that you just saw Schumer talk about. These people are losers. They did nothing for this country but enrich themselves and make their lives much more cushy than yours. And they'll do it again if you give them the opportunity, because this is all they know how to do. They're a bunch, in most cases, of lazy lawyers that know nothing. They know nothing about the bills that they're putting through because someone else writes them for them and tells them the talking points to go out with. There's nothing new coming out of the Democratic side of the aisle, and for that matter, there's a whole lot less new coming out of the GOP side of the aisle, because it's more of the same. Give us more money so we can spend more money. And the plan that Donald Trump has on the table, if you listen to people like Kudlow and Art Laffer and people of that caliber that have worked this in the past and made it work, if you think about the Laffer curve, this is exactly what the Trump program that he has put forward will do. It will solve some of the problem of the spending and cutbacks that are needed. And by generating more income, you negate the other side of the deficit. It's not rocket science here. And I know that Elon is out there saying things about his displeasure with the big new beautiful bill. And I'm not sure that he's totally wrong in some of the aspects that he's pointing out. But for people like Schumer and Blumenthal, Nadler, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, these people are not economists. They are not understanding what the real economists are telling them will come of this bill. They're out making it up as they go along because they want to get back in power so bad. They're wetting their pants right now because they don't know and can't handle the salvo that's coming at them from the White House every day now. They don't know what he's going to do next, and he's trolling the hell out of them and making them crazier than they really should be or have been in the past. And it's obvious every time you listen to any of these idiots that are out there saying the things that they're saying. It's almost incredible. I've got some things to go into Stupid Town with today that'll show you just how off base everything really is right now. And we have a Congress that I urge you all to call your sitting senators, your sitting Congress people, and tell them what it is that you're feeling about their reticence in getting a bill put through, whether it is the big, beautiful bill or not. We need these tax cuts to spur the economy one more time. And if Powell is listening, he needs to get off the dime and his political bent and do his job to help this along. And I believe in the next 6 months, you are going to be amazed on how well this country will do. Now, that's enough about the big, beautiful bill and about the idiots that we have in Congress. But also, when they're in Congress and talking to us through the media, which is bought and paid for by the Democratic Party anymore, they need to be reminded about what happened yesterday when they caught a Chinese national, a member of the Chinese Communist Party, integrated with the Chinese Communist Party, going to try to bring into this country crop-killing funguses that they got caught with on their way to the University of Michigan, where this illegal has a visa to be doing research there. They recently had the boyfriend come back from China, and he was delivering these petri dishes with these samples of a fungus that will kill our crops. And there we're going to do a little gain of function with that right there at the University of Michigan. Do we need another reason to take communist Chinese people out of our universities that are in there to study, to do research, and then go back to their country and then come back here as spies? We need to have some look-see into this. And I believe now the FBI and Homeland Security is going to be on top of this. And I know that they'll say that, the Democrats are going to get up in arms if we deport her and her family and the boyfriend. First of all, they should be in jail right now for what they tried to get away with. But we have a court system now that is packed full of Obama and Biden judges that were shoved through the Senate with glad hands and put out to do the blockages. Never let Trump win was their motto. And now they're going to release these people. They've already blocked sending the family of that idiot that tried to kill all those Jewish people in Colorado. The judge, an Obama judge, has blocked it. You can't deport these people. They didn't do anything. Come on. What is wrong? And then you have these activists out in the streets hollering, it's just like Nazi Germany. It is illegal. It's not illegal. If you enter this country illegally, you are not entitled to due process and all of the nonsense that they're out screaming about. This is all engineered to stop the Trump plan from working. We have to wake up and understand that. And our lawlessness and lawfare that is going on is allowing people like these Chinese, and I warned you a year and a half to 2 years ago about the amount of Chinese military-aged men that were coming through that southern border and given a free ride to go anywhere they wanted in this country. And where did they go? They went to our farmland, and they went to all of our military bases and missile silos and surrounded these places. And now they want to bring in a virus or a fungus that will be crop killers, and they're buying up our farmland. Come on. What does it take to wake these people up? There's flashing red lights going on for the last 3 years, and no one paid attention. Not to mention we let a Chinese spy balloon traverse our entire country, mapping out every military installation we have, every piece of farmland that we have, and Biden did nothing until it reached the end of what it needed, and then said, okay, we could shoot it down now. What is that smack of? We know that he wasn't making decisions in the White House. We know that his family was being enriched by China. There is proof of that. James Comer is looking into it one more time again. And as I said yesterday, I don't expect a whole lot to come out of that. But we better wake up and realize what is going on, lest we all end up as residents of Stupid Town. Because it is not a good situation, folks. And we have people in place right now that the Congress do not want to let do their job. The judges that are placed as blockages for the Trump agenda will not let this cabinet complete the jobs that they need to do. They will not let the president do what he has promised and was elected for to accomplish. So we're in a precarious situation. And then when you go across that big, beautiful ocean and start to go a little bit further east, you have the makings of World War III on the threshold. And no one is paying attention. Merkel, I guess, is in the Oval Office today. It'll be interesting to see what takes place there with regard to their wanting Trump to back the Ukraine one more time when he's trying to get a peace deal brokered. He spoke to Putin yesterday. I think there was a good conversation there, but it's not going to be the peace agreement that we all were hoping for to take place sooner rather than later. So there's some issues that need to be handled. Germany shouldn't be sticking its nose into causing another world war. They've already instigated 2 world wars. We don't need a third. And I hope Merkel gets told that today, Mr. Chancellor. And with that, let's take a walk into Stupid Town.
Senator Lindsey Graham wrote on X, "Hope Greta and her friends can swim."
We can swim very well.
Excellent.
How dare you?
I don't know.
What are the 5 Grosse Points cities?
Well, look, I'm not here to answer a quiz.
Democrats, you gotta love them. So this Michigan Democrat wanted Trump to be impeached. And well, when he got asked about his constituents, well, you just gotta watch this. This is unreal.
I'm here to say that I'm going to fight for the people of Detroit. I'm going to fight for my constituents.
And Grosse Pointe
and all of the Grosse Points and all of Taylor and every every part of the 13th district.
Let me just do this real quick. Grosse Pointe Park, Grosse Pointe Woods, Grosse Pointe Farms, and Grosse Pointe Shores.
I don't know. Well, look, I'm not here to answer a quiz.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Congressman, the White House says enrolling foreign students is a privilege, not a right. What do you say?
I think Donald Trump is behaving just like the unhinged anti-Israel campus protesters that he's claiming he opposes. He's performative, he's illogical, he's cruel, and he's doing nothing to help address anti-Semitism on campus. Bullying students from Nigeria, from China, from Europe does not help students from Israel.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
If you want to abolish Israel, if you sympathize with jihadists, then we don't want you in our country. We don't want you.
We don't take our advice or counsel from former President Trump on immigration policy, which was not only inhumane, but ineffective. Over the last 4 years, we're going to chart our own.
Right here. So that's a visit that should sum it all up for you about what we have at the helm of certain things and what wants to take charge and get elected. And with that, we're going to wish you a very happy rest of this Thursday. Get out, enjoy the beautiful weather, and go out and shop local, get a meal somewhere in your town, support the people that are struggling, and God bless you all, and stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more commentary, news bits, and a funny look at our government. Bye-bye now.